Hi everyone, it's Mike here again, and it is great to share with you a preview of our latest Moonshots Master Series. This series is where we collect all the wisdom that we've learned from over 140 plus shows. And what we do is we study a particular topic and we bring all the best clips and practices together so you get your own little masterclass. And what you'll get in each of the Moonshots Master Series is a show dedicated to your personal transformation, or perhaps to problem solving, decision making, thinking better, all that kind of good stuff. Or lastly, it will be about leadership. Those are the three big buckets that all the Moonshots thinking fits into: personal transformation, thinking better, and leadership. That's right. And we pick all of those great clips from superstars, entrepreneurs, and authors and wrap it all up together. Now, you're only getting a preview of this. If you'd like to listen to the full show, get all the tools and all the goodies that comes with the Moonshots Master Series, visit moonshots.io, click on the members area, and sign up. Be our patron. It's only $1 a week, and you'll get a complete masterclass just for you every single month. So head over to moonshots.io and become a member. But for now, enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Moonshots Master Series. It's episode 7. I'm your co-host, Mike Parsons, and as always, I'm joined by the man with a plan, Mr. Mark Pearson Freeland. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Mike, and what an exciting topic we've got in store for all of our members and subscribers to the Moonshots Master Series today. It's a pretty big topic, but I think you and I can make a pretty darn good stab at it. What do you think?
I think we'll make a great stab at it. And I think we run the risk of thinking that every master series that we make is enormous and huge. But that's kind of the point to the master series, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. We're trying to create a comprehensive deep dive into all of these different topics and different foundations of being the best version of yourself. And Mike, I mean, we're on episode 7 right now. We've done motivation, first principles, teamwork, habits, circle of influence, communication. And now we're digging into, in episode 7, the topic of entrepreneurship. And as a 7-episode pack, I mean, these really are the essentials of not only being the best version of yourself, but going out and creating a product and a business and an individual value into the world, isn't it? It's a huge element that we're digging into.
It is. It's massive. And we love entrepreneurship at the Moonshots podcast because I think we see it as a forum to challenge yourself. It's like a great scorecard. And inside of it, you have to do something that truly helps your customers. You have to create value in order to start a business. You have to capture the value if you want to be profitable. And it really can be a very worthwhile, fulfilling activity. But it does come with a few challenges, doesn't it, Mark?
Yes, as we find out in today's episode, it's not all rosy tinted glasses, is it? I think there's a huge benefit for being an entrepreneur, going out, starting your own business, doing your own hours. But as we're going to find out in today's episode, Mike, there are going to be challenges. But the good news is there is such a wealth of fascinating, eloquent, experienced individuals out there that can help you and I and all of our members and subscribers understand and learn from those challenges in order to try and be that little bit more successful. So I think as a starter pack, a comprehensive deep dive into it, I think you and I and our members and subscribers are going to be much more well-versed than perhaps we would have been without the experience of all these others who we can learn from.
Let's hope so. And I think to set the scene for this master series on entrepreneurship, what we've tried to do is create a broad, comprehensive starter pack to the world of entrepreneurship. And what we mean by that is we really tried to touch upon the magic that is inside of entrepreneurship. And we're going to listen to people like Steve Jobs and Warren Buffett and really find out why entrepreneurship is such a worthwhile undertaking. But for all of that inspiration, we're also going to cover a lot from people like Elon Musk and Michael E Gerber, author of The E-Myth, where we're going to get into the hard yards, the challenges of entrepreneurship. And we'll definitely bring it home with some really powerful things that you can do practically as you start your journey into entrepreneurship. And we're going to listen to Simon Sinek and Tim Ferriss and the king of the lean startup, Eric Ries. But I think it's essential to say, Mark, that it's such a big topic. What we really wanted to make this show do is perform the role of a launch pad. Like if you were starting something new, if you listen to this 90 minutes right now, you'll be able to start your entrepreneurial adventure in the right way. That's kind of how we thought about it, isn't it, Mark?
Exactly. It's a jumping off point or an introduction, perhaps. You're going to hear some clips or some topics or some frameworks that maybe you've heard on our weekly Moonshots show. Maybe it's elements that you've learned about in the past or read in a book. Today is about consolidating a lot of those elements, those essential DNA pieces, and creating, exactly as you say, Mike, a launch pad or a jumping off point to be inspired, to understand some of those pitfalls, but also to learn some essential practical tips that can then help you go and learn and give a good go at being an entrepreneur. And it's a pretty exciting world, isn't it, Mike?
It totally is. And I tell you what also is exciting is the fact that we are making this podcast, we're making the Master Series just for our members, just for our subscribers. So I think before we get into the first clip, let's tip the hat and acknowledge Mark, our great members via Patreon. Why don't you hit us with a roll call?
Drum roll, please. Here are our Patreon members reporting for duty. Welcome Bob, Niles, John, Terry, Bridie and Niall, Sandy, Marjolin, Ken and Dietmar, Tom, Byron, Mark, Helena, Yaniv, Marjan, Connor, Rodrigo, Yasmin, Spaceman, Daniela, Liza, Sid, and Bonjour, Mr. Bonjour. Welcome, Moonshots family. It is getting harder, Mike, every single time we record to do it in just a couple of breaths. But I hope everybody, you've heard your names, and thank you so much for joining us and being part of our Patreon family.
Fantastic. And I think it's time to start the inspiration. It's time to get a little fired up because entrepreneurship is such a worthwhile undertaking. It won't be easy, but it has so much promise. It has so much opportunity. So if you've been thinking about starting something, it's time to listen to one of our favorites, Darren Hardy. He's going to talk about what it really takes to succeed. And he's going to point out something that really matters, that if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, you really do need to be the exception.
The exception. We admire them, we're inspired by them, and long to be like them. The exception. Transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Some have a way with wealth, some with words, and others a way with people. But one thing is true of all of them. They leave a legacy. Our lives are brighter. We have purpose. We know peace. The exception makes success look easy, even though they have fought battles, faced opposition, and at times failed. And maybe that's what makes them special. The exception don't quit. Challenge ignites their passion. They are visionaries that leave behind gifts like knowledge, wisdom, and heart for others who would never dare try. It takes guts to succeed, to dream big, to imagine the impossible and make it real, to sign up for the unknown, to challenge the status quo, to forever expand the boundaries of our imagination, to offer up your potential, to hone it, to share it with your family, your community, our world. It's amazing to think that all these people are just like you. All achievers are created equal. They all start out the same, as a child, bright-eyed, full of wonder, with big ideas, in a world that would test their will. All that separated them from everyone else was their commitment to persevere, push forward, and continue to believe in their ideas in themselves. The potential for greatness lies within each of us. Unleash yours. Be the exception.
Darren Hardy, author of The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. Mike, he's starting us off in this Moonshots Master episode on entrepreneurship with a bang, isn't he? He strapped us in.
With a bang. That was like a triple kaboom, if you ask me.
Triple kaboom. But I think what's really interesting about setting the scene for us and our members and subscribers here with Darren Hardy is that it takes guts, doesn't it? You've got to go out and realize that you can't quit. You've got to put in the yards. And at the end of the day, what separates those who maybe have wanted to do it, but they've never got around to it, versus the ones who have gone out and done it and maybe been successful, is putting in the time and the work and the perseverance, as Darren calls out, to go and get it done.
Well, it's like the courage to start and the courage then to stick with it when it really gets tough, right? And that's why it's such an exceptional pursuit. It's not for everyone. In fact, it's not for most, I would go as far as saying. And we're going to hear some fabulous stories later in the show. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. Oh my gosh, did they face some challenges? And again, something we've talked about on the Moonshots podcast is, think about this. A teacher said of Einstein that he didn't have much potential. Walt Disney was told he didn't have imagination. Oprah was fired from television, saying she wasn't a good fit for TV. The queen of television was what she achieved. It's part of the journey with entrepreneurship, and it's the exceptions that are resilient enough to get through all of that hardship. And, for me, that is like a wonderful playground. It's a scorecard. It's a competition which you can prove, not to forget everyone else, prove to yourself what you're made of. I think that's what Darren Hardy is really setting us up for. You can be exceptional. Everyone's got the potential to do it. Can you have the courage to start and the resilience to keep going? I think that's what a great start to setting up both sides of entrepreneurship, right?
That's right. As Darren Hardy's calling out, to be the exception, you're going to sign up for the unknown. So if that sounds like a good thing in your morning, you're consuming the Moonshots Master episode, well, good news, because we have lots of unknowns coming up that you should be aware of as well. I think as an introduction, that was a great clip from Mr. Darren Hardy. What a way to start. Yes.
And so if you are getting a bit fired up already with Darren Hardy, you can head to moonshots.io, where you will find the show notes for this episode, full and complete. You will also notice that we have a Darren Hardy episode, so you can check that out. That's in the back catalog at moonshots.io. And remember, because this is a master series, you may want to just pause this and go and bookmark some things or make some notes. That's totally okay. We're not going anywhere. But remember, we're going to cover lots and lots and lots of ideas. So you might want to write things down, take some notes on your phone, because there's just so many different tangents and lines you can chase from all of this thinking that we've gathered together to really create this masterclass in entrepreneurship. Mark, now that everybody is a little warmed up, I think we can go to one of the greatest entrepreneurial stories in history. What do you think?
Yeah, that's right. I think the next clip we're going to hear from is somebody who doesn't really need to be introduced with much of a background. We're going to hear from Steve Jobs. And like you say, Mike, his entrepreneur story is pretty well known, pretty well documented. But for those of our members who maybe haven't heard of it, it's a wonderful introduction to maybe some of the unknowns, as Darren Hardy was just referencing in that earlier clip. So let's hear from Steve Jobs and perhaps his slightly unknown or maybe familiar entrepreneur story and how he chose not to settle.